Well, California is officially, legally allowed to move forward with a new voter-approved congressional map for this year's election. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on To The Point. I'm Becca Habiger. The U.S. Supreme Court issued that ruling today on the new Prop 50 voting map, which Republicans have challenged in court. Governor Newsom has been at the center of these maps. As you recall, the Trump administration claimed one of the districts was redrawn based on race, which is illegal, instead of politics, which is allowed. The court sided with the state, though, and no justice dissented. California's redistricting, which benefits Democrats, came after redistricting in Texas that benefits Republicans. Now, California's new map is designed to flip 5 existing Republican seats blue, and 2/3 of California voters approved the change by voting yes on Prop 50 back in November. The Supreme Court previously approved Texas's redistricting, which also puts 5 House seats into play. Now, it's important to note the Supreme Court's decision today denied Republicans' request for an emergency injunction, not the entire case itself. So the legal fight is far from over. I spoke with Assemblymember David Tangipa, who has been leading the fight against Prop 50.
The case is not over yet. That's now going back to California and the district court to rule on officially, and still moving forward. But we wanted to make sure that we were at least trying everything that we can.
Now, we reached out to Governor Newsom's office for a response. A spokesperson pointed us to this post on X, which says Donald Trump said he was entitled to 5 more congressional seats in Texas. He started this redistricting war. He lost, and he'll lose again in November. The National Democratic Redistricting Committee also reacted today, saying in part, quote, "Today's ruling proves that Trump and Republicans' shameless gerrymandering has only empowered Democratic states to fight back just as hard. Republicans thought they could rig the maps in Texas, Missouri, and North Carolina without pushback, but they were sorely mistaken." So let's continue the conversation now. I want to bring in political analyst Chris McKaylee. Chris, the Republicans are telling us this is a matter sort of losing a battle, perhaps, but they will still be waging a war. Talk about that.
Well, they will be engaging in a further war about this. This settles the question for this upcoming November 2026 elections. But as you know, Prop 50 adopted these new maps for the 2028 and 2030 elections. So there is an opportunity for Republicans, perhaps, to change those maps for the following 2 elections. So it is one battle, but not the entire war.
Sure, lots to stay tuned for. Now, what do the congressional races, what are those going to look like now that the Supreme Court has given the green light for these Prop 50 maps to go into effect?
Well, of course, after President Trump sought Texas to change 5 Democratic seats to swing Republican, California, of course, reacted with Prop 50 to change 5 Republican seats leaning Democratic. We believe that at least 3 of those will definitely switch. The other 2 perhaps will be a little tougher battle, but in theory, there should be net no change with potentially 5 new Republicans out of Texas and 5 new Democrats out of California.
Yeah, and of course, the power of the House after the midterms comes down to just a handful of seats. So
That's
it really
right.
is a neck-and-neck horse race here.
That is true.
With these new maps now settled, should we expect to see more candidates jumping into these congressional races now that they know, okay, this is for sure moving forward?
Well, several did announce in anticipation, because remember, it's just next week, February 9th, when the period opens for candidates to declare for the seat, which was why everyone was waiting on pins and needles for this decision on the emergency petition. But we will expect to see several additional candidates, particularly in those 5 seats, come out of the proverbial woodwork, if you will.
Absolutely. Analyst Chris McKaylee, thank you so much for joining us today.
You bet.
We appreciate your insight.